Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about one of the serious misconceptions that people have when it comes to training and training goals, and that's this idea that you should rely on motivation. In fact, I would say as a long-term lifter, someone who's a coach, someone who knows tons of other coaches, that's actually the key to failure. So when people ask me, hey, you lift heavy day in and day out. We watch you run phases where you hit maxes 7 days a week and then do high volume training. Where do you find your motivation? How do you find your motivation to consistently lift heavy year round, even in your 40s? What's your motivation? And the answer to that is simple. I don't have any motivation. I don't use motivation to do that. Okay, I set goals. I have goals. Right? The only motivation you need is to say, hey, I have a goal and this is what I need to do to achieve that goal. All right? When you start looking for external motivation, and we'll get to that in a minute of what you need to do instead, when you start looking for external motivation, or you need to, say, watch a motivational video or get inspiration or have this thing to drive you forward, you're going to have to continue to do that indefinitely. You're going to always have to find a new source of motivation over and over and over and over. And the first time you get a week that comes along where you can't find motivation, or a month where you can't find motivation, you're going to slack and you're going to start failing your goals. All right? Motivation is not the key to successful changes in something that's a long-term endeavor. Same thing for the people who are like, oh, I need a pre-workout to help drive me forward. Well, again, you're falling into that same category. You shouldn't need that. In fact, you create reliance upon it. And once you're reliant upon it, you now have to have it. Most highly driven, successful lifters and athletes, or people who are even successful like in a weight loss journey, right? You get the same thing for people who've lost 100 pounds. I've lost 100 pounds. I know someone on my Facebook friends list who I chat with regularly, a friend of mine on there, who's lost 170 pounds and has now kept it off for years. 170 pounds. All right? If you're chasing motivation, you're basically seeking a continual high to achieve that goal. All right? The key is to just establish habits. The key is to establish habits. How do I stay motivated to hit 1 rep max lifts multiple times every single week? I don't. I started doing it and I got into the habit of doing it because I realized it would be useful towards my goals. Furthermore, let's go over and talk about the higher volume training. Do you guys think I enjoy doing high volume training? I care about big lifts, big numbers. One of the things that I did was got into the habit of hitting a heavy training max or 1 rep max lift at the start of every workout. Essentially, I replicate Westside's max effort day every session. And then we do all the volume work. You know why I do that? Just to remind myself. Part of that is to remind myself why I'm doing the volume work. Oh yeah, we do that heavy lift first. But we get in the habit of doing that. I get into the habit of setting the max lift and then knowing that after the max lift, what is it that we automatically do? We do a bunch of volume for all of our weak points. Okay? We do a bunch of volume for all of our weak points. Not because I'm motivated to do it. I don't like it. I dislike high rep training. Yet here I am doing all my 15s, my 20s sometimes. I don't like going over 3 reps, to be honest. I don't rely on motivation. I rely on habit. Why do I do it? Because I'm in the habit of doing it. That's it. You establish habits. You establish habits. And you establish habits based upon what your goals are. And if you're serious about a goal and a goal is meaningful to you, you will sit down and assess what is it that I need to do to reach that goal. Okay? Do I need to track my calories every day? Hey, if you have to find motivation to track your calories every day, you have a problem. If you get into the habit of just doing it, you'll do it every single day, right? Once you've been doing it for a few weeks and you just do it without saying, oh, I need to find motivation, then you just simply do it. You establish habits. Same thing with making it to the gym. Like motivation to make it to the gym. Why don't you just start going to the gym every day because you know it's what you need to do to reach your goals, and don't look for a motivation to do it. Don't say, oh, I've got to look at myself in the mirror and say, oh, I look terrible, I have to go to the gym. To find that motivation to go to the gym. No, you don't want to get into the habit of having to find motivation. You need to get into the habit of just saying, okay, I need to go to the gym every day. And then you start doing it. And once you've been doing it for a while, it just becomes second nature. Quit having an emotional attachment to it to where you have to find the motivation. You got to watch C.T. Fletcher to psych you up before you go train. Now, hey, some people say, Jason, I watch your lifting videos to get myself motivated. And while I appreciate that, I absolutely am honored that some people tell me that. I'm honored and I'm humbled by that. And I want you to keep watching my videos. Believe me, I do. I have a vested interest in my videos being seen and those ads rolling. But that shouldn't be your motivation. Okay, you can do them to help learn. See what I'm doing. Do it to improve your body of knowledge. Shouldn't be your motivation. You need to just get into the habit of going. And people say, well, how do you get into the motivated to lift heavy to hit those maxes? Just start doing them. Start following a program that's written using max effort work. Run conjugate. Then it becomes your normal. So here's what I would ask people. Get up and brush your teeth every morning, right? I assume most of you do. It's one of the first things most of us do when we get out of bed, right? We get up and while we're half awake, we brush our teeth. Once you've been doing that for a long time, you don't need motivation to brush your teeth. You don't need incentive, you just do it. There's nothing passionate about that. And I know that sounds funny because we try to use that with training. We try to hype it all up to be something hardcore. And I mean, I even do. We have the orc mode training. And I think it's great for marketing purposes. And I like the mindset behind it. But truth be told, it's not about being hardcore. It's about being in the habit of just lifting heavy. It's about being in the habit of just knowing what you need to do. And when you do it that way, if you know that every time you have a max effort day, like if you're going to run conjugate with 2 of them every week, or like I do, I've got 4 of them every week right now. Well, you're just used to hitting a max. It becomes your normal. It's normal. You don't have an emotional attachment to it. You're not motivated. You're not psyched up. Now, it doesn't mean we don't enjoy it. I enjoy the heavy lifts. I enjoy the heavy lifts. So I would never need motivation for that, would we? Until you stop enjoying them. Because that'll happen sometimes too, won't it? Times when, even though I thrive on a heavy deadlift, there are times when it's not fun. So what do you rely upon then? Habit. Establishing the habit of just doing it. You can do it calmly without emotion. Once you do that, you don't need motivation anymore. So originally, what did I do to establish the habit of doing all the volume work afterwards? Do the max first and just do what I know that I needed to do, even if I was unenthusiastic about it and didn't enjoy it, until it becomes your normal. And once it becomes your normal, it's just like everything else. Is like brushing your teeth in the morning. You just get up and do it. And I know a lot of people would say, but that sounds awful to me. I want to be excited. I want to be motivated. I want to have this positive outlook when I train. Well, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with having it. But when you're relying on that, if you're doing it based upon the motivation that you just enjoy doing it, and it's fun, what's going to happen when you wake up one day and you just don't feel like it? You're going to have to fall back on the habits you establish. So when we're talking about fitness goals, and we're talking about these things, the most successful people, yeah, they might be passionate about what they do. I mean, I love lifting heavy. I am passionate about lifting heavy, but I'm not passionate about all aspects of my training. So I establish habits. And that's what you have to do towards any fitness goal. Quit relying on motivation. Rely upon positive habits and getting in the habit of just simply doing what it is that you know is required to reach your goal. And learning to also do it emotionally detached at times. Right? And then it just becomes second nature. And that's how you're successful. That's how you're consistent. Because you're not looking for motivation. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.